So I'm Sergei and I'm the clay talk coordinator. I manage the studio here and we have in front of us a lot of the students' works which are going to be going to their homes over the next few days. Pottery has been one of those very interesting success stories of the last 12 to 18 months where there's been an upsurge or uptake of the craft. So clay talk is has been going on for several amount of years and it's developing very quickly into Montserrat's major education hub for artists and craftspeople in clay. We like to believe that a class atmosphere really helps people to see, observe and listen to each other going through the process of learning how to throw, how to turn, how to glaze pots. So this is my little space where I make my own work. So my training and my background has been very Oriental influenced, specifically Japan and Korea. And I like to hand build forms. There's a pot here that's in the process of being finished, the clay being pressed in at the moment, which I'm still doing today. These are the types of forms that I make. I like to make large vessels. I also make lots of small cups, which I've got up here on the rack. I lived and started in Sydney, New South Wales, before I went to study at the ANU in Canberra, the Canberra School of Arts. I also went and travelled overseas and experienced a lot of archaeological digs. I've come back over the last few years to demonstrate and to start teaching my skill set level and helping people bring them into clay. Because fire and clay was a very interesting evolutionary process. And from there, metal was discovered. So when humans discovered that fire and clay, how they work together, society and industry was born. Pottery is an infinite open highway of possibilities and a never-ending journey. And it's one of the most rewarding and most interesting processes that anybody could go through. But what it is, basically, is without any glaze, digging up the clay naturally from the ground, which I've learned to do myself and process my own clay, putting it into the kiln, and all the markings that you see, particularly on this plate here, are from the natural effects of flame and the ash from the wood melting onto the ceramic. And this is a whole world, a totally different, it's very laborious, but it's the most rewarding, I believe, of any of the fields of ceramics, because every time you fire it, you don't exactly know what you're going to get out of the firing. With the wood fire kiln, it gives me the green, it gives me different hues of orange and red, it gives me different hues of brown, and with absolutely no input of any glaze except through fire and flame. So this is the kiln area. These are where the normal everyday kilns for the students' work is fired in these kilns. If you come around here, I'll show you. This is the wood fire kiln. The pots are packed in the center of the kiln. You could probably fit in about 50, 60 pieces in here. They're covered with those kiln shelves, then mud is covered over the top, and fire is fed from the front, and the path of the flame goes through the ware, goes through the pots and up the chimney. And it goes continuously for about 3 to 4 days. And then it takes about a week to cool because the kiln is very dense with heavy brick. And then you unpack it and then you look at all the masterpieces that you get. And for the first time observer, you'd be thinking these people are worshipping fire. They're just worshipping this thing that's, growing all this energy and heat. That's the life of a wood fire potter. Yeah, so all of that pot is purely ashed. There's no glaze in that. That's just been ashed. Yeah. That's from willow, from the willow tree. Right. Watching people come up with creative solutions and ideas also gives me inspiration, and sometimes opens little doors in my mind about possibilities that I can then apply to my own personal work.